What's up, everybody? Hope y'all doing good. So did y'all see Elimination Chamber? Uh, wow. So, welcome everybody to a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. I got a few rumors from this past week that I am going to read to you, but I am also here to recap everything that was Elimination Chamber. But before we get to Elimination Chamber, um, let me go over some of these rumors. Just want to make a quick note that as I'm recording this, it is a little after 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and I just finished watching not only the countdown, but Elimination Chamber and the post show. And I've been 7 plus 7 hours 8 minutes into what was a great night of the Elimination Chamber. But before we get into that, I got some rumors to read to y'all like I normally do for this. So let's get into it right now. So, Sami Zayn told Sean Ross Sapp that he's usually kind of private about things like his WWE contract status, but said, I've got a good thing here at WWE, and I see it continuing for the foreseeable future, which is incredible news to hear, right? On a Backstage Pass pod, WrestleVotes said that Fraxium are main roster bound post WrestleMania. If true, that could explain WWE filing to trademark Nathan Frazier and Axiom's team name this past Tuesday. Vote also thinks Braun Breaker will defend the Intercontinental Championship in a multi-man match at WrestleMania 41. They haven't heard if it will be a ladder match. Now, when it comes to a possible multi-man match at WrestleMania 41 for the Intercontinental title, I see it being a triple threat. I see AJ Styles and I see Finn Balor in that for a triple threat. Now, whether or not they make it a ladder match, I mean, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind seeing it as a ladder match, but I feel like to get like that definitive, like who wins, keep it simple, keep it clean, triple threat match. That would be I wouldn't mind just seeing like a plain triple threat match. I might be a little boring saying that, but I feel like that would be, for me at least, that would be a way to go. But I'm not opposed to there being some kind of specialty type match, like a ladder match. And then also as far as Fraxium possibly moving to the main roster after WrestleMania, so like after getting through Stand and Deliver, sometime after WrestleMania, it's just that adding to the tag team division that's already exploding is a great thing. And I feel that's the same for Roxanne Perez after WrestleMania, after Stand and Deliver, and getting past WrestleMania. I see that for Roxanne Perez as well. In fact, I already feel like Roxanne Perez has already made that main roster start, because she performed incredibly at the Royal Rumble. She performed incredibly at Elimination Chamber, even though she was eliminated in that match. But still, she did a great job in that match. It's just a question on whether she's going to be on Raw or SmackDown. I feel that she might end up on Raw, and I'll just say this real quickly. I say Raw because she's got some beef, some short-term history with Bayley, and I feel that that Bayley and Roxanne Perez having that one-on-one match is coming, and dare I say, possibly even at WrestleMania. As you're looking at 2 nights of WrestleMania and filling the card up and making sure the right matches, the get on the card. I feel like Roxanne Perez versus Bayley at WrestleMania that feels like a good time. That feels like a good match to watch. If not WrestleMania, Raw, then on Raw. But I feel like at WrestleMania, would be a pretty cool place to have Roxanne Perez versus Bayley if it goes that way. On a backstage pass pod, WrestleVote said there are several people in WWE who do not like the 3-hour format for SmackDown and feel it has hurt the quality of the show. Now, when we got into the beginning of the year and they made their announcements of what show is going to be where, Raw is going to be on Netflix, NXT, CW, and SmackDown on USA Network, and starting in January, it's going to be 3 hours. The idea of, I think when we went into this, I believe there was a lot of us who were excited about SmackDown getting that extra hour because that meant that talent that usually doesn't get used within the 2-hour format of SmackDown would finally get to be used. And that hasn't been the case so far. We are at about 2 months into SmackDown being a 3-hour show. And within that 2 months, that hasn't really been the case. But we also know that this is not permanent, that this is just temporarily. This is temporary, and that SmackDown will eventually go back to being a 2-hour show sometime within the summer. So there's still time for that to turn around and to add that talent. I just feel like with WrestleMania coming up, there are certain things that might be hard to do at this time because there's so much to tell that's being built up for WrestleMania. So I feel like maybe after WrestleMania, when we get past WrestleMania and we look at like Backlash, I feel like maybe that extra hour of SmackDown will start to make a lot more sense and will start to be used a lot better once we get past WrestleMania, like later into April, going into May, possibly. One other thing that I wanted to mention was Swerve Strickland. Now, Swerve Strickland getting released from WWE and then ending up in AEW is one of those rare moments where it's been a great move for Swerve Strickland, because Swerve Strickland going to AEW has allowed him to rebuild himself and be able to be exactly who he wanted to be, but probably wasn't able to be in WWE under the control of Vince McMahon at that time. So Swerve Strickland in AEW, under the control of Tony Khan, he's been allowed to build himself and try things out until he was able to feel comfortable in his skin. And that is what Swerve Strickland has been able to do. And Swerve Strickland is now in this position where he is completely comfortable in his skin. And being able to hold the AEW World Heavyweight Championship and have some representation, not just for AEW, but for people, but for men, for women, and for children that look like him. It's been a very beautiful thing to watch Swerve Strickland be able to allow to grow and get even more comfortable within his skin. And I've loved watching it. And this thing that he's got going on right now with Ricochet, it's just so fun to watch and so entertaining. It's one of the best things I'm seeing in AEW right now, So I just wanted to say that loving what Swerve Strickland's been doing in AEW, and if there's ever a moment where Swerve Strickland, after his new contract is up, where he might come back to WWE, I'm hoping it's this version of him, because I would love to see what he could do in WWE as this Swerve Strickland. Okay, here we go. So now let's get into the recap of Elimination Chamber. And I will say this about Elimination Chamber is wow. Damn. And I'll give my overall thoughts of Elimination Chamber once we go through the recap. So, first match of the night for Elimination Chamber was the Women's Elimination Chamber match. Alexa Bliss versus Naomi versus Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan versus Roxanne Perez versus Bayley. So, the match starts. When the match gets started, we start with Liv Morgan and Naomi being the first two to start in the chamber match with the other women in the pods. Before the match could start and before the chamber door could close, Jade Cargill's music hits and she comes down the aisle, a woman on a mission, knowing exactly who attacked her and who she's going after. But the look on Liv Morgan's face was fear, because she felt that Jade Cargill was coming after her, even though Liv Morgan has repeatedly said she didn't do it. Like, I didn't do it. I didn't attack you. I didn't attack you. Jade Cargill gets in the ring, and it looks like Jade Cargill is going to throw a punch. Is going to throw hands on Liv Morgan. But instead, she throws hands on Naomi and just lets Naomi have it. Naomi doesn't see it coming. Just punch after punch, throwing her, tossing her. My God. And I have to say it, poor Bianca Belair is shocked, is confused, has no idea what's going on, and is trying so hard to get out of her pod, but she can't. She's locked in there. She's just locked in there. And Jade Cargill gets Naomi right to the door of the chamber and just slaps it on her. Naomi is out, right? Naomi is unable to compete in this Elimination Chamber match. After Jade Cargill is finished with Naomi, she walks, she leaves. That's it. We don't see or we hear from Jade Cargill at all. And I'm thinking we'll probably hear from Jade Cargill this coming Friday on SmackDown. But yeah, Naomi was done, right? And all Liv Morgan could do was just stand there. I mean, Liv Morgan was loving all of this, right? And she's like, I told you I didn't do it. And so we have to wait, right? We have to wait till, fortunately, the countdown starts, because Jade Cargill, because the bell rang and the match officially started, and Jade Cargill just laid it on Naomi throughout that whole first few minutes of that match. So then Naomi's taken out, the bell goes, the clock starts to count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then Bianca Belair is the next to enter officially into the Elimination Chamber. And the first thing that Bianca Belair tries to do is tries to leave the chamber. Tries to leave the chamber and go to Naomi to check on Naomi, figure out what is going on. But Liv Morgan is like, nope, you're in this match. You gotta get on this. So Bianca Belair is trying to focus on this match, but her mind is somewhere else. It took Bianca Belair a little bit of time to get into the match, but she got into the match. And then, so she got into the match, and then it went, and then the match just got back on track. It took a minute for the match to get back on track, and I felt like it was Bayley who was like, when Bayley finally got in, officially entered into the Elimination Chamber, she had that moment where she's yelling at Bianca Belair and said, get your mind on this. It's about that. And then she's pointing to the WrestleMania sign. It's about that. Get in your head. And I feel like that's what turned it all around. And then the match became what the match was. And the match was great. The women set the bar for the night. And Bianca Belair. And Bianca Belair, Bianca Belair eventually ends up winning the match. Now, I personally I am happy for Bianca Belair. She wins the Elimination Chamber. She's going to WrestleMania. She's gonna either face Rhea Ripley or Io Sky, depending on how that Women's World Championship match goes on Raw this Monday. But there was I personally was hoping that as the match was going, I was looking at who was left. I was like, oh, this would be a really great thing. This would be great if Alexa Bliss ended up winning this match. And I was rooting for Alexa Bliss. Bianca Belair is who won the match, and I was happy for that. But it would have been really cool to see Alexa Bliss get that match. And I will say, Jade Cargill attacking Naomi vindicates Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez from attacking Jade Cargill. They said they were telling the truth the whole time, that they didn't attack Jade Cargill. This was one of those rare times that they were not lying. So the next match was a women's tag team match in which it was Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. This was a tag team match that came together very quickly. The story behind this match is really Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, how Tiffany Stratton cashed in on Nia Jax and how Nia Jax has not been able to let it go, even though Tiffany Stratton defended her WWE Women's Championship against Nia Jax, and Nia Jax lost in that match, lost that opportunity. But this was, this was one of those fun matches. It was a good match, but it was one of those fun matches where it was really fun for Trish Stratus, after I believe 25 years, to get in the ring and have a match in her home country, in her town, and in front of her kids who got to watch her perform for the first time. And it was also really good for Tiffany Stratton to be able to work with a legend like Trish Stratus. So all around, it was just good for everyone, and it was one of those fun matches. And I do not know what's going to happen to Candice LeRae after Candice LeRae goes for a moonsault and lands on Nia Jax mistakenly, and gives that the opportunity for Tiffany Stratton to get the win in that match. So I don't know what's going to happen to Candice LeRae, and I'm pretty sure we'll know on Friday Night SmackDown. But also, like, now what for Nia Jax? And I think we'll start figuring that out this Friday on SmackDown. The next match was a non-sanctioned match in which Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. Now, one thing I will say about the non-sanctioned match is that I feel like since WWE took themselves out of this match, since it was non-sanctioned, I think with WWE not taking responsibility for what happens in this match, and since the lights get dimmed down, making it a non-sanctioned match, I feel like there should be no commentary at all during a non-sanctioned match, because the commentary is part of WWE. So I feel that to make it feel more of a non-sanctioned match, get rid of the commentary. The commentary just sits there and watches. They don't say anything. They allow the match to happen. The people in the crowd boo and chant. You hear the crowd, but you don't hear the commentary. That should be, if the lights are down, the commentary shouldn't speak at all during a non-sanctioned match. I've always felt that way since I was a kid. I always felt that a non-sanctioned match should have no commentary at all. That makes it feel more of a non-sanctioned match. Anyway, on to the match itself. So, tables, chairs, they were outside the ring. They were inside the ring. They were through the crowd even. There was a double stacked tables that, oh my God, that was insane. There was a barbed wire steel chair Um, anything and everything was used in this match. It was brutal in every sense of the way that you expect a non-sanctioned match to be. But after the, I even wrote this down too. So after two refs were taken out, after near fall from both Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, after a barbed wired wrapped steel chair was used several times in different ways on Kevin Owens, and after brutality was over, Kevin Owens won this match after hitting Sami Zayn multiple times with a powerbomb on the apron of the ring, which is the hardest place in that square circle, in the square circle. After the match was over, Kevin Owens was being escorted by security, but Kevin Owens got like halfway down the aisle and then stopped, and he realized he wasn't done with Sami Zayn yet. So he pulls the protection of the floor off, right? The mats from the floor. He moves it off, and then he goes and gets Sami Zayn, and it looks, and you have a feeling like you know what he's about to do. But before he can do that, music hits. It's Randy Orton making his return, and Randy Orton's walking out like a viper, set to get his revenge. He heads towards the ring. He gets in the ring, RKO. He RKOs Kevin Owens, right? And then he's got a steel chair. Looks like he's ready to use it. Gives it back, puts it down, gives it to one of the officials, right? They grab it from him. And then Randy Orton sets up for the putt, right? He's about to do the putt, and he's revving up. And right as he runs to do it, you got security, you got refs, you got officials all come in and stop Randy Orton from taking out Kevin Owens. And right there, that moment right there, you're like, okay, WrestleMania. Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, WrestleMania, especially how Randy Orton pointing at the WrestleMania sign. So you know it's coming. But non-sanctioned match was brutal. It's a great match. I believe after this match, I don't think we're going to see Sami Zayn possibly until after WrestleMania. I could be wrong. But I don't think we'll see him until after WrestleMania. As far as what Kevin Owens has to say about everything, we'll probably hear about it either Monday on Raw or for sure Friday on SmackDown. Up next was the main event match, the men's Elimination Chamber match. Logan Paul, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, John Cena, Seth Rollins, CM Punk. So the match starts with Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. It starts out with those two, and match goes on as it does. The match, I personally enjoyed the match. I thought it was very good. Lots of moments, especially for Logan Paul. I know it's fun to hate on Logan Paul because, we hate on, honestly, we hate on Logan Paul the same way we used to hate on Miz back in the day. When Miz was first starting in WWE and he was coming in as this reality star guy, the boos and the hate for Miz is like that for Logan Paul. Might be a little bit more for Logan Paul than it was for the Miz, but it's around that same level for Miz back in the day that it is now for Logan Paul. But there is some respect to give to Logan Paul for how fast he has picked up professional wrestling. And dare I say he is good at it. But it's just he's good at being a heel. And he is good at what he does. And it's fun to hate him. And it's that way like it was with The Miz that it is now. But what he did but for him to take the risks and what he does in the ring, you got to give it to him. So, but he did what he did in the ring, and he did a good job in the ring. But when the match was over, it was John Cena that won the Elimination Chamber with a little help from Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins kept his word in making sure that CM Punk did not win the Elimination Chamber and head off to WrestleMania for a championship. So Seth Rollins kept his word in that. There were a few moments where it was John Cena and CM Punk, that face-to-face, the first face-to-face they had was really good, and you're just like, oh, it's been a long time since we've seen this. But Seth Rollins has something to say about that. And then after Punk and Cena do a little double team on Rollins and take Rollins out for a little bit, they have this moment where there's some respect for each other, and where they're hugging each other, and then after that they start throwing hands, going back and forth, and Seth Rollins was first to be taken out, and then was in the final three that was left. It was Rollins first, and then Rollins did what he did to Punk, and then Punk didn't tap out. Punk just passed out, and giving Cena the win. And then right after the match was over, as the chamber is being lifted up, the crowd is happy. Cena won. It's going to be Cena and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania for the undisputed WWE Championship. Everyone's feeling good about the match. Cody Rhodes comes out. It's a feel-good moment, and then the Rock's music hits, and it's like, oh, Cody's now got to answer the Rock's question about the offer that he gave him. So I will say that, and I'll read what Cody Rhodes actually said, because I have a little bit of that quote. So Cody Rhodes looks at The Rock and is about to give him his answer, and this is what Cody says. Cody says, "I want it all. My soul no longer belongs to me. And you know why? Because I gave my soul to this ring, to these people, a long time ago." And then he proceeds to tell The Rock to go F himself. And as he does that, Cena has a smile on his face, and he brings it in and gives Cody Rhodes a hug, right? And it's like, it's that moment where like Cena's like, good for you, man. Good for you. But you gotta pay attention. This is where you pay attention to Cena, because then Cena is looking, as Cena is hugging Cody Rhodes, Cena is also looking at The Rock. And The Rock does this, right? And the face on Cena changes. And when that face changes, it's like, oh no. It's like, what is happening? And then the unthinkable happens. Cena low blow kicks Cody Rhodes, and then takes Cody Rhodes' gold watch that he got as a gift last year at WrestleMania after winning the undisputed WWE Championship from Roman Reigns. He takes it and he just starts beating over and over again Cody Rhodes' head to the gold watch. Drops The Rock, takes the mic, and then beats Cody Rhodes again with the mic. It was brutality. The most brutality we've seen from Cena, I think, ever. I mean, I would have to really go back to like the first time Cena was a heel. And the first time Cena was a heel was when he was the Dr. Thuganomics. When he started out as the Dr. Thuganomics, coming out and rapping, dissing his opponents, he was a heel, especially when he was the United States champion. At first, he was a heel. But like Stone Cold Steve Austin was a heel when he did the Austin 316 speech, eventually the crowd chanted for Austin, even when Austin was still technically a heel. Same thing for Cena. Eventually the crowd turned and started cheering for Cena, even though technically he was a heel, and Cena kind of just fell into the babyface role and stayed in that babyface role for the rest of his career. So from Dr. Thugonomics to hustle, loyalty, and respect, to the guy who's always wearing different colored t-shirts, remained the heel, the Babe Ruth. He remained that role for his entire career until Elimination Chamber, when The Rock did this and Cena essentially sold his soul. And it is the unthinkable. It took the air out of the arena and left people shocked. Not just in the arena, but all of you at home who watched Elimination Chamber, I'm sure you were just as shocked as those people in the crowd and myself. I was speechless. But it is understandable to why Cena would turn heel. This is his retirement run. And it's even like what Triple H said during the post show, during the press conference. Cena is going all in, and he's going to take risks, and he's going to do the unthinkable, and he's going to do the thing that is scary. And Cena turning heel is a scary thing for not just us as fans to watch him do, but for him to personally do, because of who he was, and his main attraction was kids. But you know, when you really think back to Cena saying he's going at that press conference about a month ago, after the Royal Rumble, when he said he was going to put him, he announced that he was going to be in the Elimination Chamber match, and that he said what was best for business was for him to go to WrestleMania and to win the WWE Championship. He said that, and we didn't think of it as much. We just felt like, yeah, that could happen. Cena is going to make that happen, because we didn't think of it at the time, but that tone in Cena's voice at that press conference was different. That was the beginnings of a different John Cena. And we saw the completion of that at Elimination Chamber with what he did to Cody Rhodes, leaving him bloody, hitting Cody Rhodes even with his own championship. This is not the Cena that said this is not the champ is here John Cena. This is not the hustle, loyalty, respect John Cena. This is a different John Cena. And granted, this is John Cena's retirement year, and John Cena is going to go out, like Triple H said, he's going to go out on his shield. He's going to try things he's never done before. He's going to do something new. He's going to go out like he wants to go out, and it's not going to be like a nostalgic tour. This is going to be a different Cena that we're going to see from now until December, when he hangs it up. And during the press conference, when it was after Triple H said everything he needed to say and talked and all that stuff, when Cena came out, you thought you might get a few words from Cena. Cena comes to everyone in the press conference, right? He sits down, grabs the mic, drops it, gets up, and walks away. Doesn't say a word. And that was actually pretty cool, because we don't need to hear John Cena's explanation, at least not now. WrestleMania is not for another month and a half. It's not for another 40 plus days. John Cena has already boarded a plane. He is on his way back to Africa to finish shooting the movie that he is shooting. So we will not see John Cena on Raw, and we will not see John Cena on SmackDown. It will be a minute before we hear and see from John Cena. But when we do, we will listen to every word he has to say, as he explains whatever he wants to explain about this. But John Cena, at least for the time being, is heel, and it feels weird. You know, it reminds me as a kid, and the comparisons are there. But this reminds me as a kid watching Hulk Hogan turn heel at WCW Bash at the Beach, and becoming the third man to a group known as the NWO. This even reminds me, even as an adult, watching how Seth Rollins turned heel and took that steel chair and hit Roman Reigns in the back, joining the Authority. I would even say this also kind of reminds me of watching Roman Reigns joining forces with Paul Heyman and making that heel turn as well. But the John Cena heel turn is a nuke, and it just flipped everything around, and everyone is feeling what they need to feel about this, and some loved it, some probably hate it. I am a little shell-shocked from it because it's unthinkable. None of us saw this coming, but I'm in for it. You know, I'm in the ride. I'm in for the ride, and wherever this takes us, I'm all in for it. But overall, the Elimination Chamber, and I feel that when we look at Elimination Chamber, even this year's Elimination Chamber, we looked at this year's Elimination Chamber, we looked at the matches, and we're like, these are going to be some good matches. We're going to have fun, but this is just a stepping stone to get us to WrestleMania. That wasn't the case this year. This year's Elimination Chamber was a boulder, or dare I say, was like a pothole on the road to WrestleMania, and it just dropped us all the way down, and we had to climb ourselves back out of it in order to continue on with the road to WrestleMania. But yeah, more of a boulder. You know, like, this was a boulder in this river that leads us down to WrestleMania. Because my God, wow. You know, what we saw from Cena was unthinkable. Didn't see it coming. But yeah, overall, Elimination Chamber really ended as how it ended was not a stepping stone. That was a giant rock, a boulder. It was great, right? Overall, it was a great time. And now all roads, all signs lead and point to WrestleMania. And whatever they got planned for this year's WrestleMania, oh my God, we are in for it. And we are in for it. And I think I'll just leave it there. Whew. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been Wrestling with Rumors. I am Anthony KT, and I will see y'all next week for another episode of Wrestling with Rumors. But in the meantime, keep your head up. Take it one day at a time. Take care of yourselves. Peace, y'all.